Hey everyone, for math today, we are going to do some volume review. Okay, you might remember the beginning of the year when we first started volume. This is going to be a little bit of a review for you, and then we will move on with the rest of our unit in the coming days. Okay, so the reason we're doing this is to prepare for estimating the volume of a building. We're going to review some strategies for finding volume. So here are just some reminders about what volume is. Volume is the amount of space that a 3D object takes up. So remember, a 3D object is something that you can hold, okay? A picture of a square on a piece of paper is not 3D, but that piece of paper is 3D. It's something that you can actually hold, okay? There are two formulas that we use to find volume. The first one is length times width times height. And the second one is base times height. And if you remember in class, I talked to you about how base is really the length and the width that's already been solved for you. Okay? Using these formulas is much quicker than counting cubes. So if you take a look over at my visual over here, you'll see that I have this broken up into cubes. And I could sit here and I could count every single cube and hope that I don't miss any. Or I could just take a look at it and I can find my length, my width, and my height. Okay, the length would be here, your width would be how wide, and your height would be how tall. Your answer to a volume problem is the measurement um, cubed. Okay, so if you see that little 3, remember when we use that little 3, and it's not an exponent as in how we've worked with it, it's telling you that the measurement is cubed and you have found the volume for it. Okay, so it could be inches cubed, centimeters cubed, it could just say units cubed. Okay, but that is very important when you're labeling problems where you have found the volume. So let's take a look at this prism, okay? We want to figure out what formula we can use to find the volume of this. And if I look closely, I see that I've got 2 centimeters, 4 centimeters, and 5 centimeters. So I know that I could use my formula length times width times height. Now remember, when you're finding volume, you're multiplying. It does not matter what order you multiply these numbers in because you're going to get the same answer. So you can do 2 times 4 times 5 or 5 times 2 times 4. Any which way you multiply these, you will get the same answer. So just know that it doesn't necessarily matter if you say, oh, this is the width and this is the length and this is the height. Multiplying those 3 numbers in any order will get you the right answer, but it is smart just to make sure you keep yourself organized, and you can do it length times width times height exactly if you'd like. So I've got 4 times 2 times 5, and I know that 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so then 8 times 5 would be 40, and my measurement, my unit I'm using is centimeters, and we have to have that label on there. So my answer would be 40 centimeters cubed, right? You're multiplying those 3 numbers together, which gets you 40 centimeters cubed. Taking a look at this again, I had 4 times 2 times 5. All I did was I did 4 times 2 first, which gave me 8. Brought that 5 down so I could very easily solve that. Okay? Now let's take a look at this prism. This one has the base already given to me, so I know that I can use base times height. Okay? My volume would be 6 times 9, and that would give me 56 feet cubed. Okay? Remember that cubed there. All right, so finding the length, width, and height. Now, these might look familiar to you. We did a lot of these in class. These are tricky sometimes because remember, you're not just counting the cubes that you see, but you have to realize that there's even a little cube hidden down there, okay? So if I was to count my length, my width, and my height, I would let's start with the tallest one here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then I've got 10 under there, right? So that's going to be 10 units this way. Then I want to count how many I have this way and how many I have this way. And if I was to look at it, I could do it like this, 3 here and 3 here. But just know that this would be 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 units there and 3 units there. So my problem is, going to be length times width times height. 3 times 10 times 3. Okay. Now again, you can do this any way. You can look at this and say 10 times 3 is 30. 30 times 3 is, or you could say 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 10. Either way, you're going to get the same answer of 90 units cubed. Okay, is it starting to come back a little bit? So this was a quick little thing we did. It came with our math journal. We did it with Prism Pileup. It's also a game that can be played on ConnectEd. And what you do is you find the volume of 2 rectangular prisms, and the winner is the prism with the larger volume, with a bigger number. Okay, so let's take a look at this card 12. I know I'm going to do length times width times height. I've got those 3 numbers there. 4 times 4 times 6. Okay, 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 6 is going to be 96 centimeters cubed. That's the volume for this. Going over to card 11, I know I'm going to do 9 times 7 times 4. Again, it can be any order. 4 times 7 is 28. So we would do 28 times 9. 252 inches cubed. So which would be the winner? Card 11. This volume is larger than this. Okay, so it's like whichever has the larger volume wins. And then if you remember, we did some of these where we had to find the volume of an object that's made up of more than 1 prism. So if I look at this, let's pretend it's like a bench, okay, and I want to find the volume of this bench. I'm not just going to multiply all those numbers together. Volume is length times width times height, or base times height. So what I need to do is I need to split this prism into 2, okay? I think I'm going to draw my line right down here, and that looks like it'll be nice and easy. I'll have the volume for this and the volume for this, and then I'll add those together. Now remember, I have to label these 2 prisms as prism 1 and prism 2. You also could label them as prism A and B, whichever you prefer. But I'm going to find the volume of prism 1 first. So I know I've got 7 times 7 times 2. Okay, so here's prism 1, length times width times height, 7 times 7 times 2. Okay, I know that 7 times 7 is 49. 49 times 2 is going to give me 98 centimeters cubed. All right, so we've got that. And then we're going to find the volume for prism 2. Okay, I've got 5, 7, and 3. I need to multiply those 3 numbers. 5 times 7 is 35. 35 times 3, I'm going to solve that, and it would give me 105 centimeters cubed. Okay. This is not the total answer because I want to find out what this is all together. So I'm going to take my volume from prism 1 and my volume from prism 2, and I'm going to add those. So 98 centimeters cubed plus 105 centimeters cubed. It's going to give me a total of 203 centimeters cubed. So that would be my final answer for volume, okay? You're going to have a little bit of classwork today, and I'm going to show you what that is in just a second. So I'm going to close this up. I'm going to move over to my volume review, okay? And what you're going to do, and I'm going to leave it like this because remember I told you I want to be able to show you how to edit it if needed. But you're going to match these prisms with the correct volume. And you're going to use the line function. And I'm going to show you what the line function is. You're going to go right over to here, and it says select line. And you can choose arrow. And what you would do is you would find the volume, and you would just use the arrow to point. So let's do that together. I'm going to do length times width times height. So my length is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm writing that down on a Post-it or a piece of paper. I know my length is 5. My width is 1, 2. And my height is 1, 2. So my problem's going to look like 5 times 2 times 2. So I know 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times 2 is 20. So I'm going to bring that arrow and I'm going to point to 20 units. Okay? Then I'm going to do my next one. Find my length, my width, and my height. Multiply those numbers together. Use the arrow and then match it to whatever thing. Again, click and drag it and then let go, okay? All right, so then you're going to find the volume of these two, okay? And then you're going to want to go back to your little arrow there so that you can mark it like that. So find the volume. You know you're going to do length times width times height. Multiply those three together. Do it on a piece of scrap paper. You're going to write your answer here. Pay attention to your unit. It's going to be feet cubed. And if you don't have to make the 3 small, you could just do this. Feet 3. Okay? Put that word answer back in there. All right? You're going to find the volume of this one. And then on the bottom, you are going to find the volume of this. Now remember, you're going to have to do this one first, then this one, and you're going to have to add those two together. Okay? That's going to be your classwork for today. It's going to be great. If you need help, you know where to find me, and I will be there to help you. Okay? Good luck, guys.